Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Thick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Tuesday edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. Spencer Israel here with Joel Elconin and Dennis Thick. Today, we're all in a little bit of a bitter mood now. Looks like President Xi has calmed the markets this morning. Everything, just about everything, is trading up. So we're going to talk about this rebound we're seeing this morning, if it's momentary, if it's not, if it's a turning point. We'll get to all of that. One stock trading in the red at last I checked, and that was Hershey, off the news of a downgrade at UBS. So we will talk about that as well. Our guest today, Nick Chahine, author of Create Income with Option Spreads. He's on every Tuesday with us. He'll join us at 8:35. Joel, how are we doing in the S&Ps? We're all in a bitter mood today. The markets are up. We're gonna, we're not fighting in the chat today. Everything is turning up green this morning.
Everything is wonderful, Spencer. S&Ps are up 29 handles at 26.48. What a range overnight, 12 and a quarter. We made that low early, and then we got some good news out of China. They're not going to fight us in a trade war. We went all the way to 26.58. That took out Monday's high of 53.75 and Friday's intraday high of 56.75. But folks, based on a 9-day average trading range, there could be some more upside here up to 69.50. We'll see how that pans out today. Bitcoin futures are just in the green a little bit here, clinging to the $6,500 level. Crude's trading up $1.32 at 64.74. Saudi's talking about some $80 oil. They got people real excited there. Gold up 60 cents at 1340.70, still trying to break out above 1350. Silver flat basically at 1650. Let's bring in Dennis Triple D, that really wishes the stocks were open at about a little bit before 10 o'clock last night.
Yeah, when this news comes out, obviously you can't play the stocks because we have the gap up futures, and at 4 o'clock everything opens higher. So disappointed a little bit not to play it off of the news. And give us that news, Spencer, in detail here. What was said by the China president last night that has this market so excited?
Oh, I don't even know. I'll get the headline up right now. I just read the headline because that's all you need in today's world. So
well, that's all you need. That's all I watched.
I mean,
what's the headline?
The headline is he's going to open up China's markets and cut tariffs on car imports. That's the headline that I read.
Not going to put on the kind of tariffs that they were talking about. He's backing off.
Yeah,
Trump's winning. Trump's winning.
Yeah, the headline's all that matters. So if you want to read the whole statement, read the whole statement. But it's everywhere. But we're in a headline. We're in a headline-driven society. So that's all I read.
Okay, so anyways, the market is applauding that big time here this morning. So let's put this in perspective, though, before you go and, get your bull hat out. I've still just got my Lions hat out. It's not an official bull hat here yet because we are still in a trading range here, folks, and Joel's going to tell you about this range. Every time we get down to the 258, 259, 260 area, we find buyers. Every time we get up to the 264, 265, 266 area, we find sellers. Where are we opening this morning? 264.35 on the SPY. That's opening right up into the resistance. Yes, there is room to 266, so there's a little bit of room. But that being said, until we can clear and get above and close above the 266.64 high that we set last week, it's hard to get that excited here, folks, because we've been up here before. We don't know what the next headline is going to come here out of the Trump administration. We don't know. This is day to day. We're getting major headlines here that are shifting the market 300 Dow points. So resistance is resistance until it's broken, and support is support until it's broken. And I'm just saying we're coming to the top of the trading range. I'm not chasing stocks up here. Even though I want to chase, it's telling me don't chase.
And I mean, if you're looking at the charts here, the spider or the SPOOs or daily, you can see, the February lows and then, the big rebound after that. But now, man, the market is just trying to decide what it wants to do. The dips under, Dennis mentioned the spider levels, the SPOO levels under 2,600. Buyers are out in force. The 2660 area to 70 area. boom, you're finding sellers. I don't know if this is going to be any help at all, but this area is going to end up like a year from now. We're going to say, wow, was that major support? Like, look at the rally off there. And we're like, man, did we ever break down from there? And we just hung above it for so long. And what do we need? We need earnings season, right? We need some fundamental data to actually analyze these markets, right?
Yeah. And that's just it. And a trading range is a trading range that you can play. I mean, if you've been a buyer at 258, 259, 260, and a seller at 264, 265, 266, you've been making money for 2.5 weeks. So I always say play the range until it doesn't work anymore. So if you're playing the range as it gets up to this 265, which we'll probably test here today, maybe you're playing it from the short side. If it takes out those highs, then all bets are off. But play the range until it doesn't work anymore. Although I'm still leaning bullish. I still think, and we had Mark shaking in here, I still think if you put a gun to my head, that we're going to take out the top of the range before we take out the bottom of the range. I don't know what day. Maybe that's going to be today. We're getting a running start at it. Maybe it's enough catalyst to push us through the top of the range. I think there's people who want to buy stocks. Well, that was apparent. But when everybody was, on Monday, or was it Monday? I'm losing track of days.
Yesterday was Monday.
Friday. Friday
yeah.
at 2:00 when everybody was throwing in the towel. I sent out a tweet. And you can look at the time of the tweet. And that was when we were about 2:59. I said that basically, it looks like an ugly day, but let's put it in perspective. We're still not even breaching the bottom of the trading range here. So don't get, too excited if you're bearish here because we're coming to the bottom of the range. What have we done since then? We're back up. So the range is the range, and you've got to identify these ranges. I tweeted out the range there yesterday as well, and play them until they don't work anymore. That's how I trade.
No, TT Mac, no steak dinner bet here. I'm kind of agreeing with Gumpy here. Gumpy's like, it was different to put call ratio, showed more room to the upside. I don't follow that. And also,
are you getting bullish too?
You
think we're taking out the top of it?
I'm not.
Gun to your head, Joel. We taking out the top.
Long-term trend is up. The long-term trend is up, and the long-term trend is not broken. So
Spinner's saying the W recovery is still intact. Yeah. I'm saying the W recovery is still intact. We had Mark Shaking on here saying the W recovery is still intact. We're going to have Nick Chahine at 8:35 to see if the W recovery is still intact. We have Spencer Israel here. Is the W recovery still intact?
Dude, come on. That's not my job.
Come on. I can tell you what Nick's going to say, and Nick has been sticking with a fundamental view and saying until the low of this, the February low, until we are breaking, there's reason to break. And he's been sticking in the bull camp, and, he's been, getting whipped around, but he's been sticking with that thesis. It's been tested. But we'll talk to him. That's why we like to have Nick on. Gives a fundamental view of the markets here. But until February lows, it seems like we're never going to get through there. It's just like it's being so well. Now we're like 50 handles away. So earnings season.
We can call it the Trump wall there, wall of support.
Yep. Or
Trump wall of resistance too, really.
George Gotch, or we just may have a flat year in the market in a trading range, and I could see that, especially after, the gains that we've had the last 8-9 years. Maybe it's going to slow down. But you know what? There's just too much money moving around to me to make this, to say that, the market's just not going to have a move one way or another. But let's move into individual stocks. Some news. Dennis, you were quick on that pay news, going private. And who would have thought?
I wish I would have been faster.
Yeah, who would have thunk that with the way that chart was looking? Spencer, what's going on with Verifone?
Yep, Verifone getting taken out by Francisco Partners for $3.4 billion. That comes out to $23.04 per share.
Nobody saw this. The stock was trading at a 52-week low basically yesterday. So nobody saw this coming. There was no memo. This was tightly held. And obviously, boom, gets taken out, goes up 52%. It's a nice premium. It's a nice premium for Verifone shareholders. The stock has been, in an awful, awful downtrend. A lot of shareholders probably are never going to get their money back here because it was trading over $58 back in March of 2011. Back in 2012, it was 55. It did get up into the 40s in 14 and 15. Now they're getting taken out the board. It looks like just over $23. So great for the people who bought at 15, but the people who bought at 40 and 50, sorry about your luck. But you're getting some of your losses back. It's up 52% here this morning. So surprising one though. I was, this one came out of the blue.
Don't they do the scanners at the grocery stores? Is that like part of their business model?
I think so. I think they're payment processors, right? So let's just look exactly what Verifone does. It's definitely at the purchase at the when you're purchasing the item. So they are San Jose, California based, provides technology for electronic payment transactions and value added services at the point of sale. So I don't know if it's scanners or what that is, but they are all about the point of sale.
Okay. All right. Sympathy plays off that. It's probably a little bit.
The only one that popped in my head was NCR, and I did buy that last night off of that. It has not traded here this morning. That was the one that popped in my head, though, was NCR. I mean, on Fast Money, they were saying Square. They were saying, some of the other ones, but there's not a lot of pure sympathy here. I do think NCR is more of a sympathy play, though. That's why I did pick some shares up there. Wasn't able to get a lot. There just wasn't a lot of stock there, but it is bid up here this morning. It hasn't really traded up, but I think you get a little bit of a lift off of this, but there's not a lot of pure sympathy plays here.
Spinner says someone bought 17,000 of the January 15 leaps in pay. I don't know when that transaction took place.
I mean, the one thing here, though, is there's always somebody buying or selling leaps on everything. There's a lot of people who just take long-term gambles, and, we're always quick to point out and say, oh, what do they know? I'll tell you right now, 90% of the time they didn't know anything. 10% of the time, or maybe it's not quite, sometimes they do know something. So, we know that the Nigerians look at unusual option activity, and sometimes, it's just, they're doing it on a lot of different stocks. Sometimes it can be hedging activity. Sometimes it can be a lot of different reasons for those. So just because you see a huge option purchase before, a stock obviously has a big pop like this, doesn't always mean it's dirty money. It sometimes just means, there's always somebody buying and selling leaps. And they're going to point out the ones, obviously, that are in the right direction. It's what the media does. So don't just believe everything you hear that every, person is, an insider trader and they all know, because the majority of people don't know. And when I look at a chart like PAY and I see the stock make a new 52-week low yesterday, I'm telling you that was kept pretty tight there. So could it be possible? Sure, it could be possible. Could be dirty money. But, it's also possible that it was either hedging or somebody just maybe gambling, that's saying this is cheap. And you know what? There was rumors out there before. So, credit where there was people talking about, I read a couple articles last night, people, talking about Verifone being very cheap and, potentially getting taken out. So there was people who were, just gambling that just because it's cheap, it might get taken out. So I don't think necessarily that was dirty money.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. Individual issues in the news. I guess we could talk to stocks related off the non-trade war. And there's a couple beneficiaries, unless I'm seeing some other news on Caterpillar, traded up nearly $4 here, $3.92 at $147 even, trading at the highs of the pre-market session. This stock has been under pressure. $147 was your high on Friday. If, in fact, we can hold that, your three-day high is $148.88.
Yeah, you think about everything that got hit on that day that they were announcing the big tariffs, and that was Boeing. Caterpillar took it on the chin. You had GM and Ford both get hit hard that day. So not surprising that Boeing's up 9 points on this. It's not surprising that GM is trading up 2.7% on this news. Not surprising that Ford is trading up 2% on this news. So obviously those who are worried about major tariffs coming in have a little bit less worry here this morning. So check out that day when they all got hit hard and Boeing and GM and Ford were getting hit. They obviously bounced back by the end of the day, because I think the whole market did bounce back that day. But those are the ones that are going to rally the most this morning on this news.
I just want to alert our traders, Ford Motor here, perennial dog, trading up 22 cents at 11.47 in the pre-market. We did hit 11.50 in the pre-market, and boy, you can count your tops there, really from the 11.30 to the 11.50 area. 11.44 was your high on March 14th. Dennis, and this is, we don't talk about the book a whole lot here. 11.47 was your January 29th high. Dennis is, we're getting.
Let's go
look at the book here. Dennis, explain the strategy. Looking at the book on a stock like Ford's.
Well, the NYSE publishes their order book. You can buy that, and most retail brokers sell for $60 a month. It's a standard fee that's paid to the NYSE. If your broker doesn't have it, find a broker that does. I find it useful, not so much intraday because the book is littered with a lot of envelope high frequency orders. That's not solid liquidity. But the book opens at 7:30 in the morning, and when I look at the stuff in the pre-market in the book, it gives you a little more feel for where there is some institutional orders, because there's no high frequency traders throwing their orders out in the New York book at 8:16 in the morning, or or whatever time we were at 7:30 in the morning. So you get a better feel for it. So what I'm looking in the book here right now is where kind of the real liquidity is. I see 80,000 at 11:38. You might say, well, how in the hell is there 80,000 11:38 when things at 11:47 bid? And that's because this orders in this book do not become active until 9:30. So it kind of can give you a feel for, maybe it's a little bit thick to open that high. In this case, Ford's going to trade some volume. It's already traded, if we look this morning, 159,000 shares. So 80,000 share order is not that thick. But then the next level has 40,000 at 11:40. Then I see 67,000 11:44. I see another 40,000 11:45. I see another 30,000 11:46. Add all those up, and you got about 250,000 shares just to 11:45. So now you say, man, this is going to have real trouble opening 11:50, because 11:50 is the Rock of Gibraltar with another 200,000 shares there. And it's 8:16 in the morning, guys. There's some institutions that haven't put their orders on the book yet. So I will tell you, there's some massive resistance where you are right now, 11:47, 11:48, which tells me that I'm more inclined to sell it here than to buy it. If it takes out 11:50 and you start seeing 11:51 hit, then all those levels are cleaned out. Then it opens up, I can see, to 11:60 and 11:75. So that's the play, is if it doesn't take out 11:50, we open at like 11:49, can't take out 11:50, this thing could fall back to like 11:40 or 11:30 even. So keep that in mind. The book thickens up until we get through 11:50. If we can get through 11:50, then it opens up almost to 11:75. There's not that much in there.
Okay. And Dennis, I just want to ask you, New York doesn't take GTC orders, right, anymore. Are those orders, are they stored on the brokerage servers, or does someone have to get up every morning and put
well,
those
that's in there's algorithms that can just place those every single day. But that's a good question, actually, Joel. Like, you can put, orders out there, and okay, so New York might not be accepting, but your broker does. So your broker will simply just continue to put that order. For example, even for me, I have a Bank of Montreal investor line account. Never talk. That's where my long-term holdings are, because my wife worked at Bank of Montreal and I have my long-term investments. I could put long-term orders on their books, like for 2 months. And all they're going to do is resubmit those every day. If New York doesn't want to hold them on their books, they're going to be resubmitted as soon as possible then. So it's still, the broker can place those orders, even if New York is not accepting those, and then it would just go there every single day. So, but that's a good question. I'm not sure if there's, breaks for, maybe they're not taking them, but I know that you're right. The GTC order, as it was to prop traders, is, at least in my system, is gone. I used to have a drop down box and I could go GTC, and then that would be good until I canceled it. So good for months or however long I wanted to put it on there for. And that's not the case anymore. But a lot of them have good till dates still. So maybe there's different dates you can put them on. I'm not sure exactly what, New York accepts from my retail broker. But I can tell you, I can put those orders in on my retail broker, so they're going to get on the book.
All right, Carl Icahn in the news here. Tenneco to acquire Federal Mogul in a $5.4 billion deal. If you want to talk about a stock that just has not participated in this bull market, IEP, I mean, it's showing a little bit of life here coming up, trading up 31 cents here in the pre-market. I think this is they're construing this as good news for Tenneco. Tenneco's trading up 380 on this news, but very, 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 very light volume here in Tenneco. Maybe if you get a shot at 60.12 and 60.39, those are the highs that you had at the end of January. But
interesting that the acquirer here is trading up, and obviously, the stock getting acquired, the company getting acquired, is private from Carl Icahn. But that's interesting that Tenneco trading up $3.80 is kind of opposite to what we've seen. But I guess it's kind of hard to say how much of a premium they're paying because the thing isn't publicly traded, so you don't really know what the value of that was. So maybe the market's deeming that he got a deal. They got a deal.
Yep. Okay. Trading up here, kind of been in the doghouse a little bit. Tenneco.
What about our Icahn Enterprises?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't know. Is it time to find?
I don't know where the NAV is.
Yeah,
I haven't looked at it in a long time. It used to be around 35. Maybe it's higher. Carl's been so quiet lately. I mean, we haven't really heard much from him at all. I used to hear from Carl all the time. I don't know. He's busy working other deals apparently, but it is trading up. 50 cents here in the pre-market or 30 cents in the pre-market at $60. What do you think of the chart? I mean, that's what we got.
It's sleepy. It's very sleepy chart. You've you haven't traded above $60 since January of 2017 when you had a 63.96 high. Your February high of last year, 59.99. So I don't know. This could be a clean breakout above 60. You'd have to check the net asset value on this one. I mean, he sold his Apple to Buffett. That was a while ago. He was like quadruple leverage short sometime last year, but then he talks about his Trump ties. So it could be a clean breakout here over 60. I mean, be playing it's not a heavily traded stock. The low of the move, I think this got down to 42.50 back in February of 16. So on a percentage basis here, looks not bad for a possible breakout. Always have to know the net asset value, though, before you're investing in closed-end funds like this.
Yeah, for sure. Jump over to, from the chat, David B. talking about Carter Worth's Facebook comments here last night. And I'll tell you, this is interesting, too. You've got to give props Fast Money because it gets people who really have some influence there. And Carter Worth, who was one of their technicians that comes on regularly, was giving commentary on Facebook. And he was saying this chart is not looking pretty to him. And he talked about the stock, potentially breaking down and going, his target was 135. I don't think it's getting there. We're going to ask Nick Chahine too later, because I bet you Nick Chahine would be writing some puts to 135, because I think from a valuation perspective, I think people come in before that. But he's a pure technician. He's just using the technicals, probably, doing a measured move or something like that to come up with the 135 price target. But the point being here, the stock closed 157.93. As soon as he started talking negatively about it, it started falling. Can you believe that it fell $1.50 on Carter Worth's technical analysis on that last night? It fell 1% Facebook because Carter Worth doesn't like the chart. This market is so retail driven, Joel, and now it's only trading up 0.5% here this morning because Carter Worth didn't like the chart last night. I mean, all respect to Carter Worth, he does some nice technical stuff, but is he more influential than a lot of these analysts on the street? Really? He is right now, which is insane. So it's showing you how much, and obviously after hours, a lot of retail traders, they drive it down, but sometimes these prices hold in the morning too. They used to be like the trade, like you could just fade all that stuff, because it would come right back in because a couple of retail guys buy that don't know that they're not that influential, and you get a trade off it. But right now, I tell you, some of these moves follow through. So, Fast Money's puts on some people, and they've got some influence right now. And that's just telling you there's a lot of retail participation that are watching these people, make their calls on Fast Money. And when they make these calls, the stocks will move off it, which, is why you've got to watch it. Even if, they sometimes got to, I mean, Cramer's always funny. I mean, the one thing about Jim Cramer on Mad Money is, even if you don't like his commentary, you don't agree with some of his calls, man, the guy makes you laugh because he's kind of crazy. But I give him props because they are influential, Fast Money.
I want to know who in the chat just lifted the Icon Enterprises when we were talking about a breakout here above 60. It just
go up.
It just traded 62.10.
Oh, well, it's an odd lot, so don't do that.
Okay. All right.
If you're listening to us, don't just go left off. That thing's illiquid. So somebody just paid up a little bit too much at 3%. But anyways, just be careful when you're, chasing stocks or, you're listening to, anybody's radio show and stuff. Obviously, we don't have the kind of listeners that Fast Money does. So I don't think we influence stocks whatsoever, but Fast Money does. So when when you're looking at these things, and they start tanking $1.50, I think these moves are still short-lived. They're driven by retail traders, and I wouldn't chase any of those moves off of somebody just liking or not liking the chart on Fast Money.
Yeah, I mean, Facebook, as Nick will say when he comes on, a couple billion users. It's kind of hard to mess up. Spinner's talking about the 147 level. I mean, we talk about half. We talk about whole numbers and stuff. I mean, 150. I mean, you got one shot. I think one shot under 150. You got one shot under 150 when it traded down to 149.02, and that was on March 26. And you're getting nice resistance forming. 161.5 is my level on the upside for continued follow through. It wasn't yesterday's high, but it was Thursday and Friday's high. And then also you had a 161.42 high on March 29th. So that's your major resistance. Major support at the 150 area. Zuck is going on the street going to the White House today to testify. So there could be some fireworks from that.
Good point.
Yeah, what's Equif? Is that EFX?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, okay. Oh, well, look at all the bad.
That came a long ways back.
I know.
From when they were having their data breach problems there, and that's a good point too. You're making, Joel. Obviously they sold that thing off in a few days down to $90, and it's come a long ways back.
Yeah.
So something to think about. I think long term here. I think if you're buying Facebook, like this 150 support area long term, I think you're probably okay. The reason I don't buy it is the only thing I'm skeptical of on Facebook is what if somebody ever came out with something better? But maybe they've got everybody, maybe they've got so much, that they're going to be able to hold on to it. I mean, I guess you could have argued the same thing for Google. What if somebody got a better search engine? So I guess you can always say that about every company. And the multiple isn't crazy on Facebook anymore. It's trading like 19 or 20 times forward earnings. But, the question is it going to lose some advertisers from this recent scandal? I don't know. I don't know if that's the case or not. If you're putting a gun to my head on Facebook and saying, what are you doing at 158 long term? I'm buying it.
Okay. All right. Let's see. What about there's some influential ratings today that we really,
there is.
Yeah, you have to take note of.
Spencer, bring us to these influential ratings because there is some big ones here this morning.
I guess
Morgan Stanley. Morgan Stanley knows big.
I was going to start with Tesla, but you want to go Morgan Stanley? We can go Morgan Stanley.
Yeah, we're going to save Gordo for a bit. We should get Gordo on if you can later, because Gordo's got a call on Tesla here, and it's
Morgan
not a pretty
Stanley,
one. Let's go NVIDIA.
Yeah, Morgan Stanley upgraded. This is yesterday after the bell, right? They upgraded
yes.
NVIDIA and Intel, was it? Or
no, STX.
STX.
Seagate.
Okay. Yeah, NVIDIA and STX. NVIDIA caught an upgrade to overweight. They didn't change the price target though, so I mean I don't really understand how that stuff works, but NVIDIA with the upgrade yesterday and STX.
So NVIDIA getting a huge pop here in the pre-market's up $8 here now, obviously buoyed by the upgrade and the overall market here. I'm going to say NVIDIA here. 250 up there is a rocket Gibraltar, but let's just do like 50% of the recent move here. Maybe we could do something like that. Do some quick air math. Joel, you're good at your air math. Let's just call 250 down to like 213. So even around it to
it's like a 30. It was like a 30-point move. So
yeah, 30, 35-point break. So you think, okay, you get half that back, but you're the 232, 233 area again, which we had a couple tops in there before. So as this gets up near 230, 232, it finds sellers, I think. So you got some room. I think you got 10 points of room. I don't know if you're seeing that today, but if the market goes into full rally mode, we take out the resistance. I could see this at 232 again up there. Then I think I'd be booking some profits.
Hey Spencer, could you show the 15-minute chart here on NVIDIA for the pre-market trading? Because really interesting here, because you had that news, right? And you popped up to 223, the 223 handle, and that held. That held for overnight, and then the 4 o'clock, when it opened up at 4 a.m., it's been in a really tight range, and buyers and sellers are squaring off here. 2273 has been the low range. Look at that. That's quiet at 2429. So there's good, if right now, I guess you just have to say it's up, it's trading up, someone's buying it here, and looking at to keep it above yesterday's high, but boy, is that some quiet consolidation. On the other hand, someone's saying, I'm taking my 7 3/4 and I'm just getting the heck out of this thing. So some real good price discovery going on here in NVIDIA. Let's see which way it goes. Once the real liquidity comes in, STX is trading up $1.96 at 58.25. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see. Let me identify a high here. 58.5. That's what we'll keep an eye on. 58, 22, and 42. There were a couple highs earlier in the month. Above that, 59.
$60 is the big number above that.
60.07. Yeah. So
that's where your major resistance comes in, 60.
But look how many shots this thing gave you here near 56. 56.20 and then 56.12. So 56.
I mean, it looks like the market.
Yeah, it does.
Kind of looks like the market. All the support and all the resistance, and you're in the 4-point range. I mean, there's so many stocks. It seems like that right now. Hot off the press, we just got some numbers here. PPI, what just came out here? PPI just came out. How's that?
Good question. I mean,
U.S. March producer price index 3%.
I'm having
a year ago, prices rose 0.3% March. Market is saying whoop-de-doo-dah day, didn't move at all.
Bullish. It's bullish.
It didn't move. Everything's bullish. Everything's bullish today. It'll be bearish tomorrow.
Also the SPOOs, they have calmed down since that pop up to 26.58. We have been in a trading range since Dennis and the ARBs got up at 4 a.m. 4:30 actually. We've been in a trading range, but finding support at 26.44 and having problems in the 26.50 handle, 26.52. But things are starting to tighten up. But it's leaking again here off the open. Intermediate number 26.44.
Little leak.
Little bit of leak. See what happens. I think there's a lot of room to leak underneath this if things continue. I mean,
for sure there is
air. Nothing in air.
There's air all the way down. That's why I can't be buying it up here for the simple reason there's nothing below you till 258. So anyways, it's the same story. We're just going to stick with it here. I'm going to stick with my range on the SPY. 265, 266, you're finding sellers. 259, 260, you're finding buyers. Play the range till it doesn't work. Jump over to imbalances. There's a few. Alibaba, big buy imbalance here for Alibaba. 221,000 to buy in BABA here this morning. You were noting in the pre-market, Spencer, a lot of Chinese stocks trading up significantly here this morning. You got YY trading up 3.7%. You got Momo, full disclosure, still own Momo in my investment portfolio. It's up 2.2%. You got Baidu trading up 1.73%. And Alibaba, a big one there, obviously trading up 2.78% here this morning as well. So some of these China stocks applauding the moves from the president over there that tariffs may be lighter than the market was expecting.
Let's look at BABA trading up 474, nearly 3%, 174.61. Really nothing to hang your hat on here. Did have a double top at 172.50 area. We will be clearing that. I don't know. 3-day highs 176.46. So I guess if it opens there, it'd probably be a lower risk short, but it still needs to go another $2. Just keep an eye on your pre-market high if you're wanting to short into this buying balance, which I don't know. I mean, I guess it'd be better if you took this thing home long and you were getting a nice lead on taking some profits. Probably better than trying to short this thing because it has had a prolonged sell-off from the $200 area and could just rebound right back.
Jump over to other ratings because we were covering them before, and we just teased it. And Tesla, with a big call from Gordon Johnson. Market is shrugging it off because Tesla's trading up, but initiating with a sell here, Spencer. What's a price target?
Well, yeah, you had a couple of things. You had some commentary.
Okay, let's talk.
Yeah, you had some commentary from Goldman. They didn't change anything. I think they just said they see lighter demand. I read it when I was half asleep, but lighter demand in Q1. But then on top of that, Goldman commentary, you've got some changes. Or Gordon Johnson from the Vertical Group has initiated Tesla with a sell, and he's given a year-end 2019 price target of $84.
Wow, he makes bold calls.
Bold is an understatement.
I don't know what to say here. Can we get Gordon? Can we email him, see if we can get him on to talk this? I mean, it's pretty short notice.
I shot him a note. If he gets back to me,
we shot him a note because sometimes Gordo's pretty good to come on our show there. I don't know if he likes when I call him Gordo, but Gordon Johnson makes pretty good calls. I mean, I'll tell you, he's one of the most widely followed analysts on the street, but he makes bold calls and he does his homework. Now, I don't know, $84 on Tesla. I tell you, Jason Raznick's going to be buying it a little bit before it gets to $84. So you got to get through Jason Raznick's bid to get to $84, but he's doing probably a valuation call here. I don't know what else he's talking about in the note because I didn't read the note there, but it's a bold call when the stock's at $289 or $296 this morning. Yeah. Market shrugging off the call.
I didn't read the note either, but I would just say, all analysts, you have to understand their track record before you make it. If you're going to make an investment, trading is one thing, but to make an investment off a call like this, he has a very strong track record in the solar energy space. I don't know if he's made other calls. Steel. Correct. Yes. Yep. But this is.
I've made money off of his calls too.
Right,
remember, what was the stock? Canadian Solar.
Okay, right.
He was bullish that at like 13.5. He came on our show and he's like, I like it. I bought it. And then he didn't like it at 17. I sold it. And I was like, thanks, Gordon. I just made $3.5 off your call.
This is a little out of his wheelhouse. Not to say it's not a good note, but you have to understand analyst track records before you make a call off of their call. Good point. Why don't you tell us whatever?
I was Goldman's battling them, right? and that's why we're trading up. What's Goldman? Are they adjusting their $40 price target?
No.
Goldman's been bearish on Tesla too, right?
Yep.
Have they
Now they
accelerated
come
that?
out with a little something, a little bullish, right?
I read the Goldman thing when I was like half asleep. It was like 6 a.m. I didn't retain
What time did you go to bed, Spencer? Maybe you need to go to bed a little bit earlier.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
No. I saw it on Twitter. They came out with a note or something. I didn't retain what I read. So, but there was commentaries. So go find it.
All right. Are we forgetting about Nick Chahine here?
I'm bringing him on right now.
Oh my goodness.
I'm bringing him on right
We
now.
went over a minute over for Nick, and we love Nick. Go get Nick.
I'm bringing Nick on as we speak. So Nick
On the
Chahine.
fly.
Nick Chahine, create income with option spreads. It's gonna calm us all down here and give us a fundamental and technical look here at the markets.
Calm down. Calm down.
We need to calm down on this market. That everything looks good again, Nick. Everything is this partying in the
It's a
streets
party.
here this
It's a
morning.
party.
It's a party because the Chinese president said tariffs may not be as bad as everybody thought they were gonna be. But I saw a tweet by you yesterday, and you actually warned of this, just saying that, hey, if tariffs aren't mentioned, this market could rally. He kind of mentioned it, but he mentioned it in a good context. The market really did rally. So good call by you, Nick, yesterday on your Twitter account. If you don't follow him now. He's Racer Nick on Twitter, and he gives great market calls. Not only on Twitter, on the Pre-Market Prep Show every Tuesday at 8:35. How's that for
8:36?
Holy moly.
8:37.
You should be paying me.
Yeah. I'll pay you in, let's see, I'll make a Nick
You
coin.
pay me in stock tips.
A Nick coin. Okay, I'm a buyer.
Nick coin. Are you going to create a Nick coin? Hey, this would be a good thing to create.
Why not? If Venezuela can do it, I can do it. So this pop this morning is exactly why we popped yesterday, which is in Friday sell-off into the close was nobody wanted to go along the weekend with bracing for impact from a retaliatory headline from China with specific tariffs. But I was almost 100% certain that they wouldn't, because the wording they did last week was kind of like, if you do it, we're going to do it. So they were kind of waiting for us to actually implement it. And I think we have a comment period that extends through April, at least towards the end of April. So I was fairly confident that wouldn't happen into the Monday open. So we went long into the open and cashed them at the top. We had a run yesterday intraday that you could have swung into profits intraday, and same situation into the close yesterday. In the morning, I shared to whoever was in the chat room that we could have a swoon into the close for exactly the same reason we did on Friday, because we knew that President Xi was going to talk, and we were bracing for impact. Luckily, he was a grown-up in the room, and he didn't. He actually walked back and toned it down a little bit, saying that we're going to drop tariffs, which was a surprise. Hence the pop. So this is where, if I have greens, short-term trades, I book them and see if I want to reset them a little bit later to see if anybody wants to sell off for some reason. I think we have a Draghi event coming up this week. I don't know if we have CPI. Did it come out already? I haven't checked.
Yeah,
I've
we
been busy.
moved a little bit.
Yeah, PPI came out.
But Nick, and this we got a really good question here coming out of the Google chat, and it really kind of applies to this market and what we've been seeing lately. Why do gaps in the spider tend to close? What market mechanics, institutional trading cause this to happen? Or is it just a mass market psychology? So good question there, Nick. I know I'm laying up a softball to you.
No, that's fine. I don't know if it's self-fulfilling prophecy or what, but I think that if price slices through an area, they tend to want to come back to it and trade that area just to clean up the price action, so to speak. And whether it's psychology that brings it back there or actual mechanics. But the easy explanation is that we have a lot of machines trading, and they are programmed to do X when Y happen and act this way and that way. So everything becomes self-fulfilling prophecies because the machines are actually trading. So it is mechanical, it is repetitive. And if you see a gap, not every gap closes, by the way, but a lot of them do. So if there is a gap, you have to pay attention to it and place your risk accordingly. So if I'm looking to sell puts and I see a gap, I try to hide below it just in case.
Nick, a question or comment from me here. I'm glad the market's holding these February lows, right? We're just finding buyers under 2,600. The thing that I don't like about the market is the I don't know. I'm more of an average trading range guy than a VIX guy. I mean, for me, to really get comfortable with this market and deploying more long-term dollars, I would like to, and I don't care where it's at. I'd like to see us establish a support level above 2,600, let's say 2,620, 2,630, put in a couple firm bottoms there in the base, and then kind of have the vol come down and just take a little bit of the queasiness out of the market. For you, I mean, I know you've been maintaining your long-term bullish scenario. From a technical standpoint, talk about the heightened VIX and volatility, and will it ever go away?
Will it ever go away? I'm not. It won't go away. It was just shift. But will it abate for the near future? It probably, everybody says volatility is here to stay. And yesterday they complained about not having volatility last year. And now yesterday I finally heard somebody say on CNBC that they want calmer days. It's like, okay, that's the opposite of volatility. So what the heck do you want? They don't know. But the problem is that it is here. It might be here to stay. So I use it to my advantage. For example, if I'm long, and I am biased long on a few things, I rent volatility protection overnight. So if I buy calls and volatility, they're not likely to disappear to premiums overnight because it's, quote, here to stay. It's not here to stay. It's here to linger until some of these cuts that we have 1,000 cuts in the headlines right now. We have tariffs, we have tweets, we have investigations of this and that. And so all of this creates just an uneasy market. And so use it. So if you wanted to go long, buy calls in the VXX or the VIX and hold them overnight to keep you long. Otherwise, you bail out. So it's an easy way to make it work for you. So it's here. It's warranted. We are near all-time highs. And as far as finding a base, we have. I mean, look at the chart. How many times do we want to retest that 25, upper 25s, mid 25s? We've thrown everything at it. Short of a black swan, I still say that the bottoms have been set on 2.9, but we have tested it hard a few times. So we need a new shoe to drop to break through it. That's my opinion.
So if you kind of sound like you think that we're going to take out this top of this, short-term trading range here and possibly go higher. So you're placing, are you selling some puts if you're making that call? Like, how are you playing it?
So I can play it fundamentally and sell puts in a lot of things, and I've mentioned them here several times. Yep. So at what price would you buy Facebook? That would be the put to sell. At what price would you buy Apple? That would be a put to sell. At what price would you be long something else? That'd be the call to buy. There are ways of doing things in order to. And yes, I see dueling scenario. I posted an E-mini chart, which shows, I said we should see two scenarios, either a new low or back to 2,700 plus. And on the shorter term time charts, you could see an inverse head and shoulder forming in several of the indices, which means it's a bullish scenario if they can take out the recent highs. So in the ES, if we can take out 2671, I can make an argument for 27, 30, 40, 50. That would be the next level up to look at. And from there, there'd be other breakout lines. All we need is just a few hours without any tweets or headlines. That's all we need. No bad news. The bulls will prevail.
Now, last night on Fast Money, I don't know if you heard us talking. We were just talking about this 20 minutes ago with Carter Worth from Fast Money, just talking about Facebook. And I don't know if you watched the segment. He put a 135 price target on this thing for himself, and it got hit. It got hit down $1.50 last night. It's bounced back with the overall market, but he says the chart's not looking good on Facebook. And I immediately thought about you, Nick, and I was like, I bet you Nick would sell some 135 puts to Carter Worth if he wanted to. What's your thoughts here on 135 on Facebook?
Nick already sold them. So
Nick already sold them.
I did sell them and they're profitable. And instead of buying them back, I bought catastrophe puts for pennies to protect myself. So I'm leaving them on until I see the resolution this week. I'm willing to forego my profits, but because it's a very safe position and I'm not worried about it right now with the information I have. I can promise you, I have family all over the world. None of them know what the heck is going on in the Facebook headlines right here. And if we have 250 million Americans worried about it, we have 1 billion non-Americans that have no clue what's going on and don't care. So Advertisers, somebody told me on Twitter when I said that advertisers are mostly here. I'm not sure about that. I'll take them for their word for it, but I think it's sentiment that drives the price target on Facebook. So Carter Worth's words yesterday rang loud because he said short it when it was still high. So he was right on it. So we listened to him. And that's why the stock got hit yesterday on his segment, probably because, hey, he called it once, he's calling it again. It's fundamentally Facebook is pretty cheap and their margins are incredible. So I'm not sure it's in that much of a danger to the bottom line as we think it is, unless there's another shoe that we don't know about.
Coming out of the chat here, earnings on Monday has a tendency to kind of rise up in the earnings and make a new all-time high. Let's see what happens this time with Netflix and triple top here to contend with. Someone's making a stand at 300, Nick. Comments on Netflix heading into their Q1 report.
Someone wants to short Netflix? Oh, my gosh.
No. I mean, I'm just talking, just under 300. You've had three highs there. No, I can't believe my Facebook. He's usually bullish stuff.
Yeah, well, Netflix is, here's the big if the markets recover, generally speaking, Netflix will definitely be flying high again because of their long-term story is muddled. I don't like the stock fundamentally. I've said that here many times that I don't think the cost structure that they have right now is sustainable. I mean, the numbers floored me. I'm not an entertainment guy, but I just can't believe things cost that much to produce. So they spend a lot of money, and I don't know how much of it is borrowed, how much of it is generated internally. But if, like Tesla, they need to borrow money to operate, rising rate environments are not good for their fundamentals. So with competition coming fast and furious from giant gorillas, fundamentally would scare me. Technically, I would definitely not short it. And if I wanted to swing high, bet on the market in general, Netflix, Amazon, CRM, high-flying stocks like that would be the bet that I would take because they will run faster uphill as downhill.
Are they gonna finish up House of Cards? That was like the only TV show I watched.
The final season is coming out later this year or next year. So
eight episodes, I heard, and
they're spending.
Frank's not going to be in there though.
And Nick, they're spending $1 billion on Lord of the Rings. So
oh my gosh!
Keep an eye on that.
What's going on, Lord of the Rings? They
just bought. What was it? They were Amazon. Now I'm forgetting. I may be mixing them up, but someone is spending $1 billion to make a Lord of the Rings TV show.
Yeah. So I heard bigger numbers. I heard bigger numbers from Netflix. Like I forget the name of the show. I don't even know it. I mean, I read it. And it was like, what? I have never even heard of the show. The most expensive series ever produced. It was like, and I don't even know the name. That can't be a success. I mean, I'm not a client, but I'm usually up and into the headlines, and I know what's going on.
Do you have Netflix?
I'm sorry. It was
I
Amazon.
do not.
I'm sorry. It was Amazon who's spending $1 billion on Lord of the Rings. So Jeff Bezos knows what that's where all that Washington Post money is going, is to Lord of the Rings. But you don't have Netflix. Do you have anything? Do you have any service?
Do I have anything? I'm embarrassed to say it. I have an app on Android that gives me everything. So
free television. So you're not buying shares of Comcast, right? Puts on Comcast.
I could actually. I've considered it before, but I just get my portfolio would be so huge if I sold puts and everything, and it's not wise to sell puts and everything in a uncertain environment. I'm selling puts and stuff I don't mind buying.
Coming out of the chat here, Micron Technology, Dennis's stock of 2018.
Well, that wasn't the case. It was IBM, but that's not much better.
Micron here.
IBM's up nothing.
Trading, trying to get off this low of the move here. What do you think about Micron? Had a nice run up. Everyone went with their price targets to 100, 150, 120, and went to 63.42. And now it's at 49 and change. And these analysts are hiding under their desk. What are you looking at here in Micron?
I sold puts into their fears because I looked at the PE and it's 5.
I know. It's
trailing PE, not forward or anything. This is 12 months past.
They make money, man.
So technically, it overshot my goal, my target. I posted a chart, but now it's back to a neckline of sorts around 48. So I sold the puts much lower than this, but I still protected them. I call them sacrifice puts. So I sell them long-term down below, collect big premium, and then buy short-term, cheaper penny puts that I call them sacrifice puts to cover the uncertain periods. So I believe in the value of it, and I'm willing to hold it if they put it to me at the level that I sold it. And if I want, there are other stocks that chase higher from here. So I'm more certain of the downside support than the upside potential.
It's and one thing, we had Sean Udall on, who does follow this. He does say the earnings are cyclical, so he challenges, whether they're going to be continuing producing. But multiple perspectives, crazy cheap. I like it here, and I've said it before. I'm still going to buy some more. I did buy some a little bit early, obviously. When I originally came on, I said I'd buy 1/3 of my position at 60, and I buy 1/3 at 50, and 1/3 at 40, and go with it. I haven't bought the other thirds yet, though, so I should better turn around and buy it pretty soon, or I'm going to have missing out.
You're going to have 6/3.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to have only 1/3 if I don't pull the trigger here soon. But anyways, I think long term, I think I like Micron at these prices just from a valuation perspective. It's the same reason you're willing to sell puts. I'm willing to buy the stock.
All right, Nick, one more and we'll let you go. Thoughts on the VIX?
As an investment, no. As a way to stay in longs or manage your portfolio, yes. But I have used the VXX instead because I'm going to tell you, I bought VIX puts on the highest VIX day, and I still lost the money. So it's manipulated. I can't make money through it. I have used the VXX to cover myself overnight. So I did that over the weekend. I didn't lose much on them. It was nice for me to go to sleep knowing, okay, so if we open up down a lot, I'll make some greens on it. So I'm not trading the VIX. Plus, I also hear that the average is 20. I challenge that statement. Averages are very misleading. If you take the outliers, I bet you the average is more like 17. Maybe 16 even, the effective average, because you have outliers of spikes of one day to 90. You can't include that in an average to say usually it trades at. Yes, it's mathematical average, but it's not usually it trades at, somewhere in the middle. So anyway, can't use the VIX to trade for myself. I'd rather use the VXX to rent insurance overnight.
All right, Nick Chahine, author of Create Income with Option Spreads. Nick, thanks as always. Have a good week.
You too. Looking forward to it.
Just wanted to cover a couple stocks we didn't get to with Nick. AMD here. Stock's been under pressure. You had a spike low here at 904, but buyers have stepped up the last 2 days to 950. So if you're looking for a swing trade or whatever, I wouldn't risk under the 950 area, trading at 973. Needs to clear $10 to get back into rally mode. Under Armour, I guess someone thought Jordan Spieth was going to win the Masters. He didn't. Put in a double top at 1584.86. That's your major resistance. 3-day decline. Tons of support in the 1350, 1360 area, but I don't think it's going there anytime soon. Kind of like just under 14 or $14, 14.01. That was your April 3rd low.
Oh, FCC asking about BlackBerry, double B. And you know what? I haven't looked at this chart for a while. Man, that got killed the last week and a half. Obviously, it's all patents are trading off of, whether there's some value there or not. But everybody's loving this thing at 13, 14. It's come back down here now. 10 huge support. So you are right at a major extraordinary support level, we will say. You can see the last couple lows. 10 is being defended. If you go out to the weeklies, you can see 10 was defended back in November, got down to 10.06, and in December got down to 10.13. So they're defending the same level here again. I mean, I guess, if you're playing off 10, there is support here. So if you're playing it for a bounce, there's a possibility that it could continue to bounce off that 10 level. Takes 10 out, I want no part of it. But there's a trade set up here. 10 support until it's broken.
And I think Left is one of the guys that is bullish on this one, right? He went bullish back on this quite a while ago. So we'll take a look at if it can hold the $10 area. I don't know what took it off that 1350 level, but you had some big news there. What's this? This is their third symbol change, maybe, right? They had RIMM, and then
you're exactly right. Research in motion,
right?
RIM. Then they changed to BlackBerry BBRY, and now they're just double B.
Yeah. So
they're like, it's like, what is that? Puff Daddy keeps changing their name all the time.
Is there?
And I don't even know what Puff Daddy goes by, and now he's something else he goes by, but he changes his name every couple of years too. So they're the Puff Daddy of the stock market, BlackBerry.
Puff Daddy became P. Diddy, became Diddy.
Oh,
just Diddy.
Today
now he's just dead.
Yeah, because
he did a lot of stuff. I got his next one. He's gonna call himself dead.
They can't take BY.
Retired.
Dennis, I'm not going to say I'll buy you lunch, but I'll be very impressed if you know what BY is, and don't type it up and look.
BY is a stock?
Yeah. Byline Bancorp. So they can't go to BY. S&P's showing resilience here after that PPI number. We dipped down to 20. How low did we get? I was hoping to see something in 26.44 on that little dip. No, 44.50. We did sneak into that just under 45. So that's what I'm going to use for a bogey here. If I'm looking for any kind of decline, then we got to get to 26.44.50. Top of the trading range since we started the show is 26.52, and you have yesterday's high and Friday's interday high after that to keep an eye on. Coming up on 8:57 here, Dennis, do we do all of our ratings? Did we get all those covered?
Well, it's funny. I was running a scanner here this morning, and I've got a scanner that scans 500 stocks of my choice, probably 400 of the 500 S&P 500 stocks, because we know I like to trade the big caps. But in that scanner itself, telling me the stocks that are trading down on the day, I have, believe it or not, only one, two. TLT is not a stock, but I have a tracking in there, so TLT is trading down. Monsanto is 3, and we know they're going to get it looks like the deal's going to get approved. It's already had its pop. And Hershey's. So I have JB Hunt, JBHT, which got a sell rating from Goldman. Hershey's, which got downgrade to sell at UBS this morning. TLT, which is down because, market's a risk on day. And then Monsanto slightly down. So I basically have, basically only 3 stocks. Monsanto, JB Hunt, and Hershey's trading in the red here. And that's of my main scanner of the main stocks that I trade. Obviously, I have full scanners that will tell you every stock of the 9,000 listed stocks that are out there. There's a ton of them, but I don't trade a lot of that smaller stuff. So Hershey's and JB Hunt, and they're both ratings trades. But maybe talk Hershey's. UBS downgrading it to sell here this morning. It is trading down at $1.86 here in the pre-market. HSY not getting the love.
Okay, let's take a look at Hershey's in a sector that's been just has not been loved, and I don't know if this is going to be the day to buy Hershey's or not. You have a low at 95, 92. That's the low of the move. And it's funny that 95, 96 level, that's just been there forever, right? That's when the rumors started about the takeover by Mondelez, and then spiked up to 115, 120, and now back down. So this has just been a support level in the stock going back to September of 2016. So I like it down here in this area, more leaning toward the buy than the sell side.
The food stocks have been so out of favor here, and it's going to take some M&A action or some big analyst to make a call to get them out of the doldrums. This is not helping it. UBS putting a sell rating on it. But if you look at all the food stocks, the valuations are starting to become okay. They were all overvalued. And that's why, when this got up to 120 and GIS got up over 60, and you had, Kellogg's trade up over 70, they all just got ridiculous. Now they've come down. General Mills valuation has got a nice dividend, isn't nearly as bad as it was before. Kraft Heinz, which is on my radar, KHC, I know it's a Warren stock too. We obviously brought it back to the market, but I think he still owns a huge chunk of it. 4.09% dividend. I want to buy Kraft Heinz, but it just won't stop going down. So, and it's consolidated so long here around 60, it makes me feel like it's going lower because they don't give you a chance to buy the bottom that long, as Guy Adami would say. So $60, it's just hung out here too long. Makes me feel like it's eventually breaking down here once again, although support is support until it's broken. But they need some M&A. They need some love. They need an analyst to defend these food stocks because they are all completely out of favor, and a lot to do with rates. I mean, rates are going up. These aren't going to perform as well in that environment. And it's been risk on market for the most part up till, the last month here. But even when the market started getting spooked, these stocks still kept going down. So they're just not getting the love of the street. And it's going to take some M&A action to turn around, I think.
Let's cover Mosaic here for TT Mac. MOS trying to get off the mat, made a low below its February low last week at 22.90, but finding some good support at 24. Had a nice rally yesterday, 23.99, 24.06. So there's your major support. Opening up into an area of resistance, your last 2-day highs, 479, 487, 25.29, your 3-day high. I mean, just overall, just not a great looking chart, but starting to show some life.
I mean, so these fertilizer stocks, some of them have had, a lot of trouble here. Let's put this in perspective. MOS was an $89 stock in 2011. It's now $24. So maybe it's something you got to do your homework on and see if there is some value here, because eventually I think there's value in some of these companies there. I do own Nutrien, NTR. It's one of the bigger ones in Canada there. Obviously, that was the combination of potash and Agrium. They became Nutrien. I own that one. It hasn't been great. I'm actually down in it, but I don't know. MOS, from a valuation perspective, I've got to do my homework, but obviously at a certain point in time, you got to think there's value here.
All right, Dennis, I'm going to let you go. I asked for some stock symbols for Nick, and I overlooked a few from Jazz here. So okay. I'm just going to I'll let you go. I'm going to do.
Yeah, I'm going to hop off, trade this open. It's pretty crazy. So Joel's going to keep doing ticker time.
Yeah, I'm just going to do 3 here for Jazz. JP Morgan, that has earnings on Friday, trading up $2.18 after a week close on Friday. Are we dealing with yesterday's high? Let's see if yesterday's high comes into play. 112.98. Also had a 12.83 high on Thursday. So clear 113. Continue the rally, perhaps up. Another seller at 113.60. Coming back on the downside. I'm sure there's a lot of people would like to see this unchanged. What I've noticed, ahead of earnings and stuff, you kind of get more trading ranges as big institutions and big players try and, flatten out a little bit ahead of the report. So right now, that 113 handle seems to be posing as resistance. CAT getting a bounce here off the lack of tariffs. Trading up in the pre-market, 147.20 is your high. Haven't traded off much off that. I'd really like to see it clear that. You have room up to 148.88. That's your 3-day high. Coming back on the downside, like I said, with this kind of up open, you have a double close, 142.99 Friday's close, 143.08 yesterday's close. So 143, that would be good support. And then the final one, Boeing, getting whipped around pretty good here. That has a double bottom to lean on at 322, but it's $9 away from that. If you're looking for another target on the upside, your 3-day high, well, we haven't taken out yesterday's high at like 34.88. So longer it takes to get up to that area, more the possibility of a leak. And actually 2 highs at that area, 34.59 and 34.88. All right. I hope we covered everyone's symbols here. We are now run a couple minutes over. Spencer, why don't you wrap things up and preview Wednesday's show?
Well, that's it for us, as Joel mentioned. So if you want to catch our podcast, you can do so on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher, or just rewatch the show on YouTube as it aired. Thanks to Nick Chahine. Thanks to all you who hopped into our chats today on YouTube and at premarket.benzinga.com. That second chat is pretty active throughout the day, so hop in there anytime. And there will be people in there talking. Don't forget to stay mellow in that chat. Stay chill. We don't want to get too worked up over. It's only the market, Joel. It's only money. Come on.
Well, they can always just private message each other.
Yeah, it's only your money. Come on, it's not that big.
It's not like your sports team or anything.
Right, exactly. It's not like your sports. It's not actually important. It's not like your sports teams. Anyway, so that chat is active throughout the day. premarket.benzinga.com. Thanks to all you who joined us today. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and we will see you folks tomorrow.